All right. So real quick, I'm gonna do a real quick optimistic Knicks fan while I got the chance. Over here walking over to the river park. So let's go here. Let's start here. Let's start right here. When it comes down to it, when it comes down to the bottom line, I actually attempted to record a couple of videos. I didn't want to put them out in two parts, and to be honest, I'm glad I didn't drop anything because what I wanted to do is kind of look at more reactions. Now, one thing I didn't do is I ain't watched none of that, nothing from First Take, nothing from Gil's Arena. I didn't watch. You know who I watched? I watched Mello. I watched 7 a.m. in Brooklyn with Mello. He had Shumpert on there. They were talking about it. All right. I watched All Ball TV. My brother, I'm watching new independent media because one thing I'm not going to do again, and this is I'm just anti those guys. I watch when they say something, or I watch them to react and shoot it down. But I'm not, look, one thing I know when it comes down to the Knicks Coaching Search is Leon Rose and them, and this is what bugs them so much. Leon Rose and them don't speak to the media. For those Knicks fans that are again, you know this when you grind with the team. This comes from the Isaiah days. So, owner Jim Dolan, one of his basic edicts right now is you don't get a media nothing. So, unfortunately for Knicks fans a little bit, we pushed in the win. But again, I'm one of those guys. Like I said, I've grinded with the team, so I know this. This goes back from the Isaiah days because the Isaiah situation, when the Hanukkah Brown-Saunders case came, the media just went with him. And again, they settled that case. It was nothing criminal. They settled that case. But we all know that Dolan loved Isaiah, loved him like a brother. It's not like they have that much of an age difference. So when it came down to it, it bugged him. And again, the media just went real hard. I think a lot of people don't know, they don't live in New York, don't understand how much the local media goes hard. And they went hard. The situation, again, I'm not here to pass judgment on it. Again, they wound up settling that case, the sexual harassment case. And so, that's being that. So, really, Leon Rose being an agent, former agent, being a guy who came up his way, the Knicks front office don't give the media anything. So, one of the things that you got to consider when it comes to this coaching search, and I want you Knicks fans, I want all the Knicks fans that here and, those that know me as, you're going to get radio silence. And that's why I've been radio silent, because I'm not watching these guys who have no sources. They have no sources in MSG. MSG does not leak like a sieve. You might get one person who somewhat gets an idea of what's going on with Leon Rose and the upper management, up until James Dolan. But you're not getting no solid sources in that building. Zip lip is the way we go. So when I see the reports that so-and-so Knicks were denied, so-and-so, blah, 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 I take it with a grain of sand. It doesn't it's insignificant. It's really insignificant because where's it actually coming from? Now, at the end of the day, I'm going off. I will say this again. One of the people I didn't shout out as far as people I watch is Knicks Fan TV, and I actually got to watch a little bit more of their content to get an idea because, bro, CP is up. CP the franchise. Shout out to CP the franchise. He's in it. He knew that Julius Randle was getting traded. He knew a few things. All right. My gut feeling tells me that Johnny Bryant is the front runner for the job, and I'm happy with that. Right. But my common sense also tells me, as I think the Knicks' marching orders is to get all the candidates that they want, and that's the thing. Obviously, they want that, the candidates they're interested in, and make a decision from there. Don't just jump because Johnny Bryant. No. Because again, this is a key move. All right. So okay, we learned that Rose made the call, but Dolan was no fan of Thibodeau. Dolan was happy with the job Thibodeau did, which is why he's willing to pay him, why he gave him an extension, signed off on an extension. Again, this is, I think, look, if anybody understands, Thibodeau was a Jeff Van Gundy assistant. And the Jeff Van Gundy-Dolan divorce wasn't a great one, okay? We are, if anybody's been a Knicks fan for the duration of the century at least, they would remember that. And so to get Thibodeau in the building was a good. Now again, Thibodeau had to continue to progress. He did, just wasn't good enough. And now we're at the point where, despite the Knicks being 30-1, only 30-1. Long shots to win the championship at the start of the playoffs, we got to the conference final, and the perception is, well, no, that's the problem. Number one, we shouldn't have been at low odds, and we feel like we had a championship. We feel like we lost it because I can guarantee you the Pacers were a longer shot than the Knicks. Anyway, I mean, really, again, the 30-1 is because Boston was in our path. We understand that everybody glazed Boston to believe that Boston was a team that was so unbeatable, and the Knicks made short work of them. Okay, again, my theme on things is this playoffs, that this particular playoff, whatever you expected is not what was bound to happen. I made that, revelation a lot. I made that on the 10 Toes Down. I was talking about that. Everything you thought was supposed to happen, this was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. Well, this was supposed to happen. Well, it didn't happen. And that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. That's not how it went. That's not how it went down. And as we see, OKC is supposed to be up. They're not. The key, these championships, these games, these playoff series are not won by media chatter. They're not. They're won on the basketball court. And so, despite what expectations were, because, that's a real reoccurring theme, that all of this expectation talk always dominates. We sit there and we watch the news cycle, and we watch SportsCenter and First Take and whatever show they got popping on FS1. Undisputed. I don't even know what they replaced Undisputed with, since Skip is no longer there. We watch all that prognostication nonsense and think that what these guys are telling you is biblical fact. And at the end of the day, as I said, I correctly predicted so far, we're halfway through the decade, you won't see repeat champions. Not only have you not seen repeat champions, you have not seen repeat conference champions since in either conference since 2019. Okay, so yeah, Golden State would have been the last one in Cleveland. 2019, you had different teams, 2 different teams, make the finals. That would be, okay. So Golden State was the last ones. So 2020, different champions, different Western Conference champions. 2021, 22, obviously the Lakers didn't get back. 23, and injuries and things like that. All of those things play into account. A lot of different things come into account when looking at the reason. If you're going to ask why and prognosticate why, many things come into account. And so, yeah, the fact of the matter is, like I said, we got to a point for 4 years where we had the same 4 finals, and then come into it's really you really got to realize it became a time where it was the death of super teams in this. But yeah, super teams died, and a lot of people still have not realized that. So again, people come up with these preseason prognostications thinking this team, so many things need to go right for a team to get all the way to the finals. So many things need to go right. And that's the difference. That's the difference between now and back then. And now, again, with everything saying, I'm going to relate all of this to the coaching search. At the end of the day, the Knicks have a championship window. And the championship window probably is a few years. It can extend depending on the moves we make. It could extend depending on, a guy like Jalen Brunson and how good and how long he, stays in his shape and at his game, what layers he adds to his game. Again, but it's the Knicks have a core right now that need to be unlocked. And that's the thing. See, because I want you guys to understand this, man. The media, ignore them. I've ignored them. I saw the headlines. I didn't watch none of the videos. Stephen A, Magic Johnson. And here's the next one. I'll get into that a little later, man. Magic really be disappointing me the way he glazes LeBron, bro. But again, he's gonna be the company guy, right? And the company edict is nobody can criticize LeBron, despite what the facts may tell you. But I don't want to hear what Magic got to say about my Knicks. Look, it was Magic that was offered the Knicks job before Isaiah got it back in 04, 05. Yeah, I think it was 04. I think it was 03 actually. 2003, Magic Johnson was offered the Knicks president job. And I don't know what the deal he had with the Lakers, but he was more into his business, so he said, no, I'm not interested in doing it, but Isaiah is a perfect candidate. Isaiah wants to get back into running an organization again. And again, the Isaiah situation, I think Isaiah was actually a decent team president. Problem was, again, he had to fight against the media, but he was a little aggressive in trading for stars to win now, and not really conducive with the cap. He also traded draft pick guys that turn into like LaMarcus Aldridge, a multiple All NBA player. Again, three draft picks he traded right off the bat. It was the 06-1, the 07-1. Joakim Noah actually went to the Bulls with that pick. And then 2010, the pick that we traded wound up going to Utah for Gordon Hayward, but right behind that pick was Paul George. So again, it's one of those things where that's the legacy where he overpaid for certain guys, and on top of that, traded. But he was good with trades. He was actually good when he actually drafted. These are the things you need to actually build an organization. But anyway, being neither here nor there, you know, we get into the importance of this deal because I think Leon Rose, one day I'll go over, because I went through the coaches in one of my videos recently, and I'm gonna go over the GMs, over the front office, the team president, whoever was in charge, the number one guy, whoever was making the personnel decisions and everything else. I'll go over that as well. But this coaching is the most important coaching decision the Knicks have made since Pat Riley. Okay, man, you know, even more important than Van Gundy, because we really have a team in its prime in place to compete for a championship for 2 or 3 years. And Knicks fans, trust me when I say this, man. Don't let them fool you into thinking otherwise. Don't let anybody in the media fool you into thinking otherwise. The Knicks are a championship contender. If the Indiana Pacers, and again, the Indiana Pacers are up 2-1 on a 68-win OKC Thunder, if that team is up 2-1 on a 68-win heavily favorite, 7-1 favorite now, because I'm gonna get into a lot of things about that video I just got to watch. Shout out to Zay, did his Mind the Game on the Danger Production video. You know what? Again, media perception, that leads into these odds, right? At the end of the day, OKC is a 7-1 favorite, and they're down 2-1 with a must-win game tonight. And I'm gonna get into that. See who's going live. See if I decide to do 10 toes down tonight. I doubt it, but I might want to do it over the weekend or something, depending on what shapes up, man. There's a couple of things, man. A couple of people I'm trying to get at. But again, make no mistake about it, the Knicks are a contender. They are a contender. The roster, and if they ran it back, they're a contender. If they trade for Giannis, they're a contender. There's very little moves that we can make that will take us out of contingency status. And so I get it. Knicks fans are just who don't understand, who don't believe that, because the media has you not believing it, are a little skittish and worried. Back-to-back 50-win seasons, bringing the whole core back. You're not, only person you're not bringing back is the coach, you know, for sure. You know, the only thing, like, again, when it comes to the Knicks moves, because we talked about, I want to talk about the Kevin Durant situation and all that. Knicks, I think if the Knicks trade Carl Cat for Durant, I think that's a lateral move. But it's the one that could potentially backfire in your face because of KD and his recent history. And I'm not saying that KD is not a terrific player. But KD, again, two years in a row, has flamed out in the play. 3 years in a row, he's either flamed out in the playoffs or not made the playoffs. And this is with a lot of presumed help around him. And I'm not saying that KD in a new style, a new system, can't be great. I just don't like him as a fit for our team. I just don't like that he's willing to come here and play his ass off to get a championship to New York. Because the fact of the matter is, if he was ever about that, he could have did it 5 years ago. 6 years ago, I mean. He had a chance at 31 years old, coming off that Achilles injury, to come to New York. And he came to New York, but he went to Brooklyn. And he just said the Knicks weren't cool. They weren't the 5. All that. What does he think now? What does he think now? Well, again, as Fat Joe said, he didn't want the smoke. He didn't want, like, he could go to Brooklyn, and if they didn't meet the expectations, okay, at least he was, you know, at least he was here. At least he got us talking about. That's not how it goes down in Brooklyn, Manhattan. It's not how it goes with the Knicks. So that's why I'm not interested in that move. Giannis is a different story. Giannis is built for this. KD, he proven. Like, KD needs to go somewhere to a smaller market where they are competing, with the intensity in it. That's why. And again, obviously Giannis is the better player. I think we could get Cat for KD straight up, but this is the thing, right? This is the thing. Cat, while probably not as good as a player as KD, might be the better fit. Because number one, he wants to be here. Number two, he's shown he'll walk through a wall for the team. He's considerably younger, and I would expect in the next 3 years, while he's under contract, to play considerably better. Maybe not this particular year, but year 2, year 3, when KD is pushing 40, yeah, I expect Cat to be the better player. So I'm not making that move. I'm only making the move for Giannis, a guy who's 1 year older and expected to be considerably the better player. I'm not making a lateral move for a guy who's just not going to fit the culture. Now, all the talks about who liked who and Cat. Listen, I think Tibbs was the problem. I think Tibbs lost the team, and that's the bottom line. He lost the team. You know, the players do gotta say this is. I mean, like, the player empowerment era isn't over. Back to the court. Yeah. So, you know, I'm getting into the coaching search and the trade talk and all that. Guys, stop being scared. Stop letting the media scare you into believing that the Knicks are in this panicky mode. They're not. Trust me. They're not. No one's panicking. As I said, one thing I knew is that the Knicks will be the most attractive win-now job. You understand what I'm saying? They have the most attractive win-now roster. The coach will probably get paid the most. So the Knicks will have their choice of available coaches. Now, the fact that Kidd and we're hearings and stuff. Where's the proof? The fact that Kidd and Finch and Taylor Jenkins is free, but I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all want to retread because y'all are comfortable. You want a guy with a resume that said, well, he did this. Taylor Jenkins, right? He did a decent job with Memphis, with Ja and all of them. Where's the consistent conference finals runs? Where's the reason why I don't want any retreads is because I know. Like, Mike Malone is the one who I believe in. But again, from what I hear, and I'll trust the sources, Knicks don't rock with, the front office don't rock with Malone for whatever reason. All right, and I think what happened to Malone was kind of crazy, but that's Nugget business. I'm not gonna get that too much into Nugget business. The real situation is that the Knicks are in the driver's seat here. They're in the driver's seat. They got, there's other teams that probably have a little bit more to trade for some potential superstar, whatever, or Giannis. Maybe. I'll say this, the Knicks have better players to trade. Other teams might have more in terms of draft capital. But players, again, if Karl-Anthony Towns is the centerpiece of the trade, no one else is giving Milwaukee a better win-now player than Karl-Anthony Towns. And you can say, well, that's not enough. Yeah, I get that. So the Knicks would have to attach young players and draft picks around that to help Milwaukee still compete and pivot off what they want to do. And again, This is up to Cat. I mean, up to Giannis, really. Giannis is the guy here who's going to say, going to look at the situation, probably going to give Milwaukee a chance to keep him. See, this move might not get made till after free agency and the draft. He's probably going to assess the roster after free agency and draft. And again, I don't think they have much in terms of the draft capital. I don't think they have money to spend. You're gonna have Damian Lillard under contract for a full season, right? And you're not expecting him to play. Right. You know, he's not gonna play. Like, if he does, you expect him to be 100% by playoffs? So, Cat is going to really, Giannis is really going to assess the roster because, again, the story there, and I've said this, is this man willing to spend another MVP level season on a non-contender? You understand what I'm saying? They'll be a good team, but they'll be a non-contender. They won't be a contender. Again, I know that the Milwaukee don't have their own first round pick because the Knicks actually traded that to the Nets for Mikal Bridges. So the Knicks would have had the 19th pick, which is Milwaukee's pick, as well as the 25th, which was our own. And we no longer have that. The Nets have 4 first round draft pick, 8, 19, 25, and 26. So Giannis is going to give them a chance to say, and then after that, he's going to probably push for a trade. If he doesn't see anything really popping by free agency, because they're going to need a point guard now. They're going to need a guard. They're going to need... He could conceivably run point guard himself. Have the offense based around him. But,